Tracey and Girard Newkirk have quickly become Wilmington's new power couple. Before COVID, I couldn't go to an event without seeing them there, and now I can't attend a community Zoom meeting without both of them being logged onto there. In between, Girard and Tracey also both run their own businesses, and this year they created Genesis Block, which recently opened offices and community space in downtown Wilmington. Their 3-year goal is to help launch companies that will create 400 jobs and add $13 million in investment to our area. They're here to talk with us today about building the entrepreneur class. Please join me in welcoming Wilmington's power couple to the stage.
Go ahead and click to the first slide. So good morning. You know, 2 years ago in 2018, I stood on this very stage and I talked to you guys about intentional inclusion. And during that talk, I shared with you a story about my baby son. He had come home to visit for Thanksgiving and he went out for the evening. And he came back in and he sat down and he says, "Mom, I don't like the vibe I feel here." Unbeknownst to him, I knew what he was talking about. It was the residual effects of 1898. And at that time, I told you, it was the divide of the intentional divide that happened during that time. And so in that same talk, I asked you guys to help me with something. I asked you to help me create a Wilmington that my 2 sons would want to live, work, grow, and raise a family. And all along, since that 2-year period, that's exactly what I've been working on. I started out thinking, if we had a really strong African-American middle class, then my 2 sons would want to be here. I continued working with several groups. I still do my work with the African-American Business Council. I joined the IDEA Roundtable, started by Live Oak, where business leaders came together to talk about inclusion, diversity, equity, and awareness. I talked to several business leaders about what it would take to build a Wilmington where they could actually recruit African-Americans, bring them here, relocate them, train them, and keep them over a year before they realized they didn't really fit in the community and they went elsewhere. And so in all this work, I realized that it was not going to happen just by chance. Creating that kind of Wilmington was not going to happen just because we thought about it and talked about it. We were going to actually have to build it. And pulling up and really thinking about building that type of Wilmington, the best way to do it, I determined, was in building the entrepreneur class. Because who best but small business owners to create culture, to create community, to create jobs for small businesses where African Americans can grow and flourish in those jobs. And so since then, I have dedicated my life and all of my time, and it is an honor it's a journey of love to do this with my partner, my twin flame, to build that entrepreneur class.
If you take a look at this picture right here, this is from March 2018. This is in Nairobi, Kenya. I just won the Startup Regional World Cup Championship. I just been on a plane for 23 hours, literally lost in the middle of Nairobi, Kenya, with 70 other startups, and I won. You know, and I'm from Burgaw, North Carolina. I was born and raised in Burgaw, North Carolina. I have excellent blueberries. We're known for the Blueberry Festival, but we're not known for technology and startups and development. So part of what my experience, you know, I left Burgaw in 1995 and went to college, eventually made my way to Silicon Valley, where I was so inspired by the startup ecosystem there, the technology ecosystem there, all of the innovation, all of the excitement that was happening. And as a little boy, I always had this dream. You guys remember Dynasty and Blake Carrington? All right, so Blake was my guy. I know that seems weird, but Blake was my guy. So I always had this dream of bringing these large businesses back to my native area. So fast forward to March, actually fast forward to the end of 2018, I moved back to Wilmington, North Carolina. And thanks to Joe Finley, I was introduced to my twin flame here at Tech Mountain. And I began to talk with Tracey, and she began to talk about what her vision was. She began to talk about her 2 sons and the incident that she had where they felt that the vibe was bad. And I've been gone here for like 20 some years, so it really wasn't top of head for me. But she started to talk about her vision of building a prominent African-American business, build a prominent African-American middle class. And I said, well, my vision is to bring technology and entrepreneurship and innovation back to our native Southeastern North Carolina and the Cape Fear region. So my dream now has become a hubby to-do list. So hence you have Genesis Block.
So what is Genesis Block? You know, when we started out, we just started calling it a community collaborative. And what does that mean? It's just a fancy name for us saying we want it to be the place where everybody in the community can come together and collaborate on doing just that, what we talk about, and that's building that entrepreneurial class. And when we started really talking about building that and what it looked like, we went back to when Wilmington was really great and really the model city for our nation, where everybody wanted to be like Wilmington. And what was going on during that time? That led us to our tagline. Genesis Block is community, collaboration, and creativity. That's the approach that we take in building the entrepreneur class. And when we think about community, that's all of us, that's everybody coming together in an environment that we feel like will grow entrepreneurs and create that entrepreneurial ecosystem. We look at collaboration. When Wilmington was at its best, we were collaborating, not competing. And so it's really important to us that at Genesis Block, we focus on that collaborative piece where we come together. There are so many great organizations supporting entrepreneurs in this town. And we want to be a conduit of supporting that ecosystem and helping it grow. And so that collaboration piece is very important, even for our small businesses. We want them to come together. The one thing that we love the most is when they get together, it doesn't matter if they're doing the same thing, they have the same type work, they collaborate together because they realize a rising tide lifts all boats. And so it's not about the competition, it's about the collaboration. And then the creativity. We need some of the most creative minds to create a community where everybody wants to live, work, grow, and raise a family, where everybody feels like they can participate. There are events for everybody, and that's what we need in that space of Genesis Block, are those creative minds that can come in and help us figure that piece out, what do we need, and then create those businesses to support it. We ultimately want to be known as the premier business development services center for the Cape Fear region.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit through what Genesis Block is operationally. So we have three verticals. We have co-working, we have our Entrepreneur Academy, and we have our technology platform. So first, let's go through our co-working space. Now in our co-working space, we offer a shared workspace for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And I want to make something clear real quick, just because we have done so much work with our minority businesses and our Accelerator programs. Our Genesis Block space is totally inclusive and open to everyone. So if you need office space, if you need meeting room space, if you need an event space in a safe, sterile environment in the heart of downtown Wilmington, less than a block from the waterfront, we're the location for you. So in this co-working space, what entrepreneurs and small business owners need in order to succeed is they need room to grow, they need an environment that creates inspiration, and they need the opportunity to collaborate and network. And as someone mentioned earlier, to bounce these innovative ideas off of each other and then get access to the resources it takes for their business to grow. The next component is our Entrepreneur Academy. Now this picture here, for Minority Enterprise Development Week, we held a pitch competition. And so this picture is some of the contestants that were a part of it. And all of these companies are going to be participating in our Minority Accelerator I'll talk about very shortly. So the Entrepreneur Academy is our platform to provide essential skills training for small business owners, for entrepreneurs, regardless of where they are in their entrepreneurial journey. Our first program is called Genesis Block Small Biz Studio. Now this is for companies that are about 6 to 12 months that really need to lay the foundation to become successful business owners. We host workshops every Wednesday. We have tools and resources to help them through their growth. We partner with Jerry over at the Cape Fear Small Business Center with webinars and other vital essential skills training tools. The second program that we offer is called the Genesis Block Back on the Block Minority Accelerator. Now this is going to launch in January. We're going to have 10 companies, and these 10 companies are going to go through a 16-week intensive program that's going to provide them the skills and training that they need to then become investable, to then grow their business, to then be able to employ 3 to 5 employees over the next 18 to 24 months. And the third program that we offer is very new. It's called the Jumpstart Academy. Now these are businesses that are at the very early stages. The purpose of the Jumpstart program is essentially to help them validate their idea. Does their idea work? Do they have the bones? Is it a viable business? So they come through our Jumpstart Academy and we work with them directly. We provide them with consultation. We provide them with coaching. We provide them with mentorship. And we serve kind of like as a navigation tool throughout the entire Wilmington ecosystem. Third is our technology platform. Now, thanks to a sponsorship with Castle Branch, we were able to create this technology platform. It's going to be in two components. First, we have what's called our Genesis list. The purpose of this is to have a searchable directory. It's going to be on the website. It's genesislist.com. It's going to be a searchable directory for all of the Black-owned businesses in the Cape Fear region. Our goal is to have 1,000 of these companies by the end of 2021. We're already off to a good start. Over the next month, we will have a formal kind of presentation to kind of show the website off. And we're going to be inviting the entire public to use this kind of as a platform to navigate where the Black-owned businesses are in the Cape Fear region to make it easily searchable. The second component of this is called ANZA. Now, this is going to be a mobile application. The purpose of this application is going to be to connect minority and women-owned business enterprises with anchor institutions and prime contractors. We found in our research over the last year that some of the challenges with minority participation, it wasn't necessarily racism, it was lack of capacity. It was lack of essential skills training. It was lack of having the network and resources and tools to be able to understand processes. So what we've done is we come up with a solution with this ANZA technology platform that covers all that. We train them at Genesis Block, the minority and women-owned businesses, through our facility downtown. They then get their MWBE certification, and then we pair them with anchor institutions or prime contractors that are a good fit. So this solution helps increase the minority participation rate, and again, it continues to help businesses grow here in the Southeastern, in North Carolina.
So we've told you who we are as a couple and how we ended up on this journey. We've let you know what Genesis Block is. We've told you how we plan to accomplish some of the things that we on our agenda. But we realize there is one key area that we still need to address. And that's a barrier that if we don't address it, especially in this community, that will hold us back. And that's trust. Will we do what we say we're going to do? Are we just going to have a bunch of programs and seminars and workshops with no results? We're both right now taking the Lean Stack training for our to be able to facilitate our Minority Business Accelerator. And one of the things that they've told us loud and clear, and it's in our paperwork, is that you don't get a gold star for following a process. You get the gold star for achieving results. And that's the same thing for us. We knew to create trust, we had to put in front of you things that could hold you, that you could hold us accountable, and that we were holding ourselves accountable for as well.
All right, so this is the fun part. So we get to talk about the Cape Fear Build a Block plan. And Rob alluded to it a little bit earlier on, but we have three components: business creation or business formation, job creation, and community prosperity. Those are our three pillars. So you can write that down. That's what we're going to be held accountable for over the next 3 years. These are our key performance indicators. These are the measurables that we're holding ourselves accountable to as far as our service to the community. Now, in business creation, I talked a little bit earlier about the Minority Business Accelerator. So we have this designed so that 10 companies will be selected. So 10 companies, we call them cohorts. There will be 4 of these per year. So the goal is to produce 40 new businesses that go through this program, this accelerator program. We have very specific selection criteria. They have to be revenue generating, they have to have some form of traction, and they have to be positioned to be able to hire 3 to 5 people within 12 to 18 months based on where they currently are when they enter the program. So the goal with our business creation is to have 400 companies that come through over the next, 120 companies that come through over the next 3 years. 400 would be great, but that's down the road. Give us a break this first 3 years. She got nervous. The next component is job creation. So as we said earlier, one of the criteria to be selected for this Minority Business Accelerator is that you have to have the ability to be able to hire 3 to 5 people over 18 months. So from that, remember, we're going to have 120 companies. So we're hoping to bring on 400 new jobs to the Cape Fear region. We want to drive job creation through small business formation. So the next and the final component of our Cape Fear Build a Block plan is community prosperity. So from this, the revenue that will be generated from these companies will be $13 to $15 million. So this leads to an increased tax base. This leads to community prosperity, self-efficacy, self-reliance, empowerment. We're trying to bridge the model from that of dependency to empowerment, using entrepreneurship as the vehicle for that. So as we talk, and now I want to talk a little bit about where we are as a community. We have a very unique opportunity to build the entrepreneur class. And I'm going to speak to three key things. We have Live Oak Bank, which is the largest small business lender in the country, according to the Small Business Administrative website this morning, as of September 29th. I fact-checked it. So Live Oak is the largest small business lender in the country. Number two, we have Encina, which everyone knows just had a very successful IPO launch earlier this year. Number three, I don't know if you know this or not, but Wilmington, according to the Startup Genome, was ranked the 91st best startup ecosystem in the world. All right, so there are over 8,000 cities in the world. So that puts us in the top 1% of the top 1% as far as a startup ecosystem in the world. It's something to be very proud of. So when you lay the foundation with that, when you think about that, with all of the existing infrastructure that is here, we have an opportunity to truly build the entrepreneur class. And we're not change agents, we're transformation agents. We want to transform the community from being neighborhood driven to community driven. We want to transform from being siloed as far as the way we think, siloed as far as the way we do business, to being a lot more collaborative. And most importantly, we want to transform the limitations and mindsets that prevent us from seeking and becoming the highest expressions of our highest self through creativity. So we're asking you all to join us at Genesis Block. Thank you.
Thank you.